Hey, everybody. Oh my God, it's your main man, Anthony Brogdon on the one and twos. And I got two guys on the show today. They both good looking young men, heavy hitters coming at you because they want to tell you some Black history that is uh, good news of what they both have been involved in their own right to help us in Michigan. Y'all know, hold on. I'm sorry, everybody. Let me tell you, I'm Anthony Brogdon. I'm excited today. Oh, yes, sir. I'm the guy that come up with these people. Now, the one guy on the show, I think this is third time. He a regular. And this dude, I admire him. I'm so impressed with him, like with all my other guests, I will admit. He come on anytime. He got a lot that he's involved in. It has become his life's mission. He spent a lot of his time. He invented too. He got books that he sell and all that. We're gonna talk a little bit about him, and cause we plug on this channel, and I'm sure you can get some of his books that he sell or whatever on his website. We're gonna talk all about that. So everybody, this is what I want you to do. I want you to hit the subscribe button on Strong Inspirations. My numbers is up. I'm at 1,396 subscribers, and I love all of them. And those of you who want to subscribe, I don't know what you're waiting for. It's free. All you do is hit the button. Boom, shaka laka. When you get a moment, when you watch the video, hit the button. Don't forget and like this video, like some of them others that you watching. And I know you're watching me. I can feel it. Every now and then I get good messages. I ain't had no hate yet, but I know it's coming because I'm effective. And then tell somebody about Strong Inspirations. Also, hit that notifications bell. Because see, that notification bell is how you get a ding, a shock, a smoke signal, your skin tingles and the lights flicker in and out of your house, whatever, that there is new content. Check it out. Let me just go over this real fast. Did you see the one? I just released it, before I did this interview, not long. I got the guy who owns the oldest Black-owned business in America on the show. Mm-hmm. I'm not playing with you. Out of Columbus, Ohio, it's called E.E. Ward Moving Company. The guy, John T. Ward, started it in 1881. He was never a slave. He was out of Ohio. And my man got him a couple of horses and buggies and whatever, and he was transporting stuff. And now 141 years later, they still operating, and they in 3 cities, and they big, and they successful, and they jamming. Watch that video. I'm going to stay on that note just a little bit longer. Did you see the one I did with the guy out of Atlanta? There's a brother down there. He's, since passed on, but he started the business at 72 or more years old, and they do constructions. They are a part of the deal that built them all them big buildings down there in Atlanta. Stadiums and high rises and all that, called H.J. Russell Company. Watch that video. Did you see the one I did? I ain't got to do all about business because I cover everything. Did you see the one I did with the guy who is the international leader of the Marcus Garvey Association, called the UNIA? He on the channel. And he got some interesting stories. Because check this out. I ain't going in no detail. He said Marcus Garvey and Du Bois didn't get along. There was something to that dynamic. Did you see? Watch that video. I got one more for you. How about this one? Did you see the one I did with the guy who they almost hung his grandfather? Had my man at the tree, and they let him go. God worked on that one. Watch that video. I'm over 400 videos strong, and you're going to like this one. I'm telling you, both of these cats is heavy. Both of these dudes is heavy. I'm tagging you 2 times today. So check it out. You hear me use it? Oh, no, this is what I want to do. Excuse me. I'm a filmmaker, everybody. I did this documentary on the rise of Black business in America called Business in the Black. I took it to 40 cities on my own dime. It's streaming on Amazon. It's good. Not just because I did it, I had several people say that. And then I wrote the book on it. It's called Black Business Book. Same thing as the documentary, but more thorough. And I got, and check it out. This is the #1 Black business history book on the market. I wrote it. You got to get your copy of this. It's called Black Business Book. Over 200 facts in it. The book is good. And to learn all about what I'm doing, go to my website, businessintheblack.net. And lastly, I launched another website called Inspirations by Strong, where I put phrases, good phrases and all types on wood plaques. And go there and support that. It's called inspirationsbystrong.com. Now, you hear me use this term strong a lot. Strong is my favorite word. I really like the word strong. Strong stands for strength, tenacity, resilience, and a sense of oneness, nobility, and grace. And that is my introduction to my guest today. They strong, brothers. Watch out. Here they come. Come on, gentlemen. Introduce yourself. Thank you for being on Strong Inspirations.
Okay, my name is David Head, and I'm honored to be here with Brother John Green. I always have admired him since I've been in the city of Detroit since 2011, and I've heard of a book called Negroes in Michigan History. And I'm gonna let John take it from there.
My name is John Green, and I am a native of Oklahoma. I've been here for over 60 years, and I became involved with this book in 1959. I was introduced to this book by a librarian in the rotunda of the state capitol. Her name was Lila Colby, a white woman. I became enthralled with the book, and I couldn't let it go, and I have been working with it ever since.
All right.
I have had Black history in Oklahoma from grade 1 until I graduated from high school. And I have always been inspired by the work that we have done that they have never recorded. And this book, to me, is the greatest protest that I have ever found. You wouldn't put me in your book, so we had to do our own book.
I love it. Okay, let me ask you a couple of questions, Mr. Green. What city? I'm gonna ask this about you personally because I like the Oklahoma hit. Where in Oklahoma were you, born and raised?
I was born in a town called Lawton, Oklahoma. This is the home of Fort Sill. Fort Sill was the artillery center for the Army. Everybody who studied artillery had to come to Fort Sill.
Okay, let me ask you, but Lawton is not one of them black townships, though, is it?
No, it is not. Lawton is approximately 200 miles south of Tulsa. That's where the Black Wall Street was. I have many friends in Tulsa.
Okay. How close is it to Oklahoma City?
100 miles.
Okay. So let me ask you this. Were there a lot of black people in Lawton? Is it a black neighborhood, a black community in Lawton?
Well, the Lawton, as I said, was the home of Fort Sill. Well, this was the home of the 10th Cavalry, and the 10th Cavalry was black. These are the Buffalo Soldiers.
Oh, really?
Henry O. Flipper was assigned to Fort Sill. Henry O. Flipper was the first black to graduate from West Point in 1837.
Yeah. I'm familiar with him. Okay, let's talk. How did your folks get to Lawton? Why were they in Lawton?
Well, they were born in Tishomingo, which was down near Ardmore, near the Texas
Oklahoma,
line.
right?
My grandmother married a soldier, and well, that's how we got to Fort Sill, Oklahoma.
Okay, I'm gonna stay on you just a tad more because you jamming. Or do you know where the plantation is in your family? Where in the South do y'all come from? Do you know that?
Tishomingo. That's an Indian name. Tishomingo is down near Ardmore, Lake Texoma.
Oh, this is Texas.
No, this is in Oklahoma and Texas. It's a man-made lake. It's called Lake Texoma.
Oh,
It's not. It's in Texas and Oklahoma.
oh,
We were
okay,
still in Oklahoma. Tishomingo is in Oklahoma.
okay. How about this? Do you know of Black history stories in Tishomingo? Is there like somebody? I mean, I never heard of it, but any stories out of there?
Well, the thing that is most notable about Tishomingo is this is part of the Trail of Tears, when they removed all the Indians and blacks from Florida. They had to march all the way to Oklahoma because Oklahoma at that time was Indian territory.
Yeah. And so that was one of the first parts of Oklahoma. Is it close to in that direction, or where is it at in relationship to the Trail of Tears? Do you know?
It was the Trail. The Trail of Tears ended in Oklahoma.
Oh,
It came up all the way from Florida. They walked them all the way from Florida to Oklahoma, which was Indian territory.
yes. So would you say you got Indian in your family?
Yes.
Have you ever met them?
My grandmother was part of the Chickasaw Indian tribes, and we've been trying to get out right through the Chickasaw tribe for all of these years. They sold her land when she was 2 years old. There's a great story, and the Department of Interior has never done what they should have done. And the Chickasaw Indians are located in Ada, Oklahoma, and they'll talk to you, but they never put anything in writing.
So when you say their land, she had land as a result of her father, or how did she have land?
She had land because she was part of the Indians who were owned slaves. She's a part of, her name is listed on the Dawes, Dawes rolls. I have a number and everything. She got 40 acres of land. There were 13 kids, so that's almost a township.
Yeah,
Interesting story.
And so, do you go back there? What is it like today?
I haven't been. I've been to Tishomingo. Oh, it's been about 30 years since I've been to Tishomingo.
Yeah.
And of course, the white people don't have all the land, but I've got all the records. But it doesn't do any good because you can't get anybody to fight it.
When you say fight it, what would you want to say? Give me my land back?
Well, I don't want the land, but I want compensation for it. Yes, I would like to have the land back. It would be great. Because with all the 13 family members, we got a township. So township is 36 miles.
So what you're saying is everybody would have had 40 acres. All 13 of them would have had 40 acres.
Yes.
Oh. Was there ever any lynching in that town or in Lawton where you grew up? Did you know any stories like that?
I never knew any stories about lynchings in Lawton, but there was some lynchings in Oklahoma. Well, when you read the story of the Tulsa, the Black Wall Street, when they burned the town down, that was a form of lynching.
Yeah, sure.
They wouldn't even sell black people wood. They had to go to Kansas to buy wood to reconstruct their homes and things.
Really? Let me a couple more questions on you if you don't mind. Growing up in Lawton, You live on the black side of town, and what was the name of the black side of town? And what was the high school and that kind of thing?
Well, the name of the high school was Douglas, Douglass, Douglas High School. And well, we lived in 3 or 4 sections, and I would imagine that we had those areas because of the Army being there. And well, one of the things that I'm very proud of is that we lived in a brand new house. So we chose the house that we wanted to live in.
Okay, okay. What did y'all? I got a couple more because I really like this. We're gonna get to the book, I promise. What did your grandfather do for a living?
My grandfather was in the Army. He was in the 10th Cavalry.
Oh, so he was in the cavalry. Okay, and he was a Buffalo soldier. I lost you.
My grandfather was in the 10th Cavalry.
Yeah.
That was part of the Buffalo Soldiers. They
Was
built forts there.
Did you remember seeing the uniforms and all that kind of stuff?
I saw everything. I saw them move from the horse-drawn artillery to a motorized artillery.
As a soldier, what did he fight against somebody? Did he protect? What did those soldiers do?
They were the ones who won the West, if you remember the history. That's how they got the name Buffalo Soldiers, from fighting the Indians. They opened the West.
Oh, and then one more question: what did your father do for a living?
He was in the Army also.
Oh, really? Okay, okay, okay.
He belonged.
I
Hello?
see. Yeah. Were you ever in the Army?
Yes, I was, but I only stayed 2 years. They drafted me.
Oh. And what time was that? Was that during? I'm not trying to date you. Was that World War II or?
I went into the Army right after the Korean War.
Okay.
This was in the 50s.
Okay. Now, let me one more. How did you get to like Black history like you do, to dedicate yourself to like working on this book and that kind of thing?
Well, in Lawton, at Douglas, we had segregated schools, and I had all Black teachers, and they taught us Black history because they knew that we would need to know what our history was. And that's where I learned Black history. And when I got to Michigan and I ran into this book, a book written by Black people, about Black people, I was mesmerized. And I am still just as excited about it today as I was the first day I saw the book.
And so, what's the history of the book?
The history of the book is what the Black people in Michigan did to build this state.
Who wrote it?
Black people. The president of the group was Oscar Baker out of Bay City. Actually, he lived. He was one of the early lawyers.
And so, what he did was he chronicled all these 100 Black people.
No, he had a committee. There was a committee.
Commissioners.
The commissioners who got together and did it, and then they divided this group into agents, and they went around and took pictures and collected the information, and this and it's a beautiful book. And the thing that hurts me is that it's not used in this public school system. I'm not talking about the Black school system. I'm talking about the Michigan school system.
Okay. Do you have a copy of the book there?
Yes, I do have.
Yes. Okay.
Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it. Okay. So now what happened was, let me make sure I got it right. That guy, when did they write this book?
The book was written in 1915. It was part of what was known as the Lincoln Jubilee, which was a celebration of 18 states in Chicago, the Coliseum in Chicago, Illinois, called the Lincoln Jubilee, to celebrate the 50th birthday of the
Emancipation.
the
And the 13th Amendment.
The 13th Amendment.
And so there's a book like that in all those other states?
No, there were 4 states that did it, and Michigan is the only state that has reissued its book.
And the reissue is what you did?
Yes, and this is the 4th printing that we've done of the book.
Did you add?
Yes.
Did you add more information, or what did you do to when you got involved?
My contribution to this book is the index. The original book had no index.
But you didn't change anything in the original book, or add more names or anything like that?
I put the index to it. It had no index.
Okay. What is an index? What does that mean?
The index is the name of the people in the pages where they're located.
Oh, okay.
It helps you use the book easier.
Oh, I got you. I got you. Well, like if you can, give us a couple people that are featured in that book that stand out in your mind.
Well, the first person that stands out in my mind is Oscar Baker, who was the president of the commission. The other person that I would possibly choose would be Dr. Clegg. Dr. Clegg is the father of Jeramogi. He's the grandfather of Mr. Evans, who is our county executive.
Oh. So the book chronicles from 1915, you say, and when he wrote it, he published it when, and he goes back how far? I guess that's what I'm questioning.
No, the book chronicles the beginning of Blacks coming to the state of Michigan, the start of Michigan. The book was published in 1915.
Right.
But it comes all the way, from the beginning of Blacks coming to Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of those stories of Blacks coming here? Because Michigan probably had some slaves and stuff like that. What does it say happened at the beginning?
Well, the same thing that, went along with all the other things where Black people were. They had to fight for the right for suffrage, They had menial jobs and this, that, and the other, all the things that Black people have always suffered. It's right here in the book.
Can I jump in, Anthony, for a moment?
Please.
Yes. The book chronicles our and basically documents history and employment, home ownership, businesses, inventions by African Americans. These stories are not told. And a lot of the families are still here in this book. Has been around a long time. So it's a documented history of our book. And Governor Woodbridge and Farris, who was an educator in New York, who became governor of Michigan, Farris State University is named after this great man. He passed Public Act 47 so African Americans can go out to collect information, gather this African American progress to be showcased at the Lincoln Jubilee for 25 days with 18 other states in Puerto Rico. So that's a documented history of our state. In our state, in Michigan, there's no other book like that in Michigan. That's how important that book is.
Does the book say who were some of the first Blacks and how they got here?
It covers all of that. Yes.
Oh, yes. It has a lot of pictures as well.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Have y'all been able to find some people that were chronicled in the book who are still in Michigan or that you met or anything like that that are still, around?
Well, in 2015, it was the centennial year for this book. And Dr. Michelle Johnson, with a grant from the Michigan Humanitarians Council through CalONGS, was able to enact 5 years collecting more information from 1915 in the state of Michigan to 2015. I played a leadership role with my foundation, the David L. Head Foundation, to manage that and navigate that in Detroit. And I had some great historians on my team. And we used this book as this seminal book to gather information about the Black families that were still here. The Henderson family, James Henderson, he's the father of Cornelius Henderson, the one that put up the bridge and the tunnels, okay? You got the Cole family. They have the funeral parlor.
Yeah.
They have a long history. Their father was a commissioner in the book. There were many great men. Mary McCoy, she was the field secretary, gathering the information for that book. They had no Wi-Fi. They had to go throughout the state of Michigan and gather that information very quickly. And they did an admirable job. It was very well received at the Lincoln Jubilee. So building upon that narrative in 2015 was truly an inspiration for me. And what I found out is that most people never even heard of the book. It was sitting in obscurity. And that's why with my Wierenthal and John Wierenthal, we decided to put out the 4th volume of this book, which just came out this month.
Oh.
The book was 45 years old when I discovered it. It was on the shelf of the Michigan State Library in Lansing. And when I approached the state about it, there was this big joke, we have no money for this. And I didn't even worry about that because this was something that needed to be done. And I figured that, it would be fantastic. And one of the stellar persons that two people that I would want to mention, Lieutenant Colonel Jefferson with the Tuskegee Airmen was the first person to give me some money towards this book. And the other person was Mr. Robinson, who was the bank manager, the Bank of the Commonwealth, right there on the corner of Van Dyke and Kercheval, here in the city of Detroit. These were the only 2 Black people who gave me any money for this book, and that's how it got published.
When did you have to get the rights to republish it from the whoever owned it initially, or had that already been passed?
No, the state of Michigan owned the book. I had to get permission from them. And this is the role of the librarian, Lila Colby. She was the person who ran interference for me to help me get that permission.
What do you want people to get out of this book?
I want people to have this book in their homes, just like they have that Bible in their home.
This is a proud, rich history, not in Chicago, New York, but right here in this state, about our rich history, men and women whose stories have been told. Like so much of our history has not been told. We need to embrace that history. We need to claim that history. We need to interpret that history. And we need to showcase this history in different mediums. You can write a play about some of these people. You can do a book report about some of these people. There's so many things you can do in a creative way about these people if you get the book. This is more knowledge. Knowledge is twofold. One is wanting to learn about history, okay? Seeking that knowledge, that's one part. The other is obtaining it and then utilizing the knowledge. And that's what we're doing.
Let me ask you, David. Let me ask you, is there somebody in the book that moves you the most?
Mary McCoy. There's men are the dominant in this Western society, but women are really the truly backbone of the family. as much as they like to push that on the man, women's hold the family together. Okay?
What did
And
she
Mary
do?
McCoy, you never heard her name. You hear about Elijah McCoy. Mary McCoy was self-educated, like a lot of these men and women. Okay? And Mary McCoy was the field secretary, and she donated a lot of her money in these societies to help the disadvantaged women that was coming into the state of Michigan, getting them jobs, educating them, finding a place for them to live. She was the queen of all these societies.
Areas where we never had the opportunity to see them.
Okay.
And this was a very, very important step in engineering.
Mm-hmm. It was basically used on the steam engine railroads. They didn't have no electricity at that time. Electricity was a new phenomenon, came later. He was a mechanical genius, and they would have to stop the steam engine
in oil,
and that takes time.
So you think about Dewajak and Niles. You know, Basil Brown was born in Dewajak, and when you look at Basil Brown, he had to tell you who he was so that you know who he was.
Okay. Okay. And then I know they probably talks about Idlewild in the book, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
And with Idlewild being a resort.
At the Fee branches, I don't know if you remember that or not, but that's who I worked for, and his office was in the Capitol, and I was there twice a day, in the morning and in the afternoon. In the morning, I'd stop and talk with her all the time, and she showed me the book, and I leaf through it, and I said, I want to check this out, and I looked back, and she was crying. This is a white woman now.
Yeah.
And I wondered what I had done. And she said, John, what does this need? And I said, well, I don't know. She said, well, it has no index. I was not familiar with an index. She had 6 books ready for me. And I took those books, and each one of the entries in this book is a 3x5 card that I had to give up to the state of Michigan to get to index this book. And I have been working with this book since 1959.
When did you finish? When did you finish the index, and now we're ready to go back to the to the printer and that kind of thing?
The first printing was in 1968. That was the first printing, 68, and then 85, and then this one.
Okay. And it was also well received by the government.
Martha Griffin. We had Judge Crockett. Right. We had Basil Brown. Mm-hmm. We have Senator Cartwright, and we had Coleman Young. Mm-hmm. So all of those people who saw or were involved with the book gave me stellar support.
Yes,
I love it. One more question. So this is one of your I don't know how to put it, but one of your proudest achievements to have it come from when you saw it on the library shelf to even to today, saying, okay, the book is done. We got another printing on it. I want to sell copies, and people need to have this book. This is a good moment for you, isn't it, Mr. Green?
Yes, it is. But then I did not see it on the shelf. The librarian gave me the copy to look at. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Okay.
And I was having Blackhistory